All right. Hey, welcome to another Go4CEO channel interview with a master guy in the business of insurance and financial services. This gentleman, I've known him now for a few years. We got connected initially, even through a raffle I think I did for the Cubs tickets. And, he won it with his wife, enjoyed it. And then we just became friends. So I'm excited to once again bring on someone that is in my center of influence, is someone that I've admired because he's in the community. He's teaching people. He's always networking, always just big hearted to share kind of his wisdom, his faith, and all the things that he's done to be an incredible entrepreneur. So, as we interview CEOs, founders, entrepreneurs, and entrepreneurs, smash that like button, become a subscriber, and tell Jason after this interview what you thought about it. What are some questions that you may have in that insurance and financial world, and get to know him now in this interview. So, hey, Jason, from the Alicea Insurance and Financial Services Incorporated. How are you, my friend? And thank you for joining the Go4CEO channel.
Doing well, doing well. I really appreciate the opportunity to be here, John. Thank you. I know you and I have been trying to get this on the calendar for quite some time now, and the fact that we're here today, I'm excited about it. So thank you again.
Awesome, awesome. I'm excited. I know you're going to teach a lot of wisdom about some of the things in the journey that you've been on. So, the first thing that we usually kind of ask our guests is, what's a little bit about your background, maybe a little bit of family, and then also just what made you start thinking about the current business that you're in, and get us to that journey so that we can start learning a little bit more. So go ahead and take it away.
Absolutely. I mean, to start off with my background, born and raised in the Chicagoland area, northwest side of Chicago. I grew up in the Hermosa community. Oldest of four siblings. My parents actually divorced at a young age. I think I was like 9 or 10. Parents remarried. So my father and mother, they had my sister and I, and then my dad, through his second marriage, I have my younger siblings, Eileen and Ray. So it's excuse me, Eileen, Jasmine, and Ray. So um, I'm the oldest of four when it comes to that, and as far as family wise, come from a huge family. My father's the oldest of 11 brothers and sisters, and I'm actually the oldest grandkid of 38. So,
Wow,
and great grandchildren, lost track of how many we have out there. So it's a big
that's
family, very close knit family, and a family of entrepreneurs as well. My father was in the real estate business. My grandfather had several different business opportunities that he did throughout his life, and so it's definitely something that's been embedded in me at a young age.
awesome. So the bloodlines are strong on entrepreneurship. I know that I met you really initially, I think, through mortgages and then through financial
Correct.
services that you were kind of, finding your way. But over the last year, I mean, super impressive. Some of the things you've been able to do, and I just see the construction that's been going on. So tell us a little bit about kind of how you got to the point where you decided, hey, I'm gonna make a change, even within my own industry. I'm gonna, start my own agency.
Absolutely. For me, I've always had that passion in me to do something for myself. Wasn't quite sure as to what exactly. You and I come from similar backgrounds as far as banking. Started as a bank teller back in 2000 and was part time, worked my way up. And while I was working for banking, I was always looking to just continue to grow within the corporate route. But at one point, I reached where I told myself, you know what, I no longer want to do this. I had a conversation with my father. Said, "Pops, I don't know what exactly want to do. I know I don't want to do real estate. Many probably ask, well, why did you pursue that direction? Seeing that's what your father did all these years." Um, and he actually shared with me, he's like, why don't you look into State Farm? And I said, well, why State Farm? I don't know anything about the insurance industry. And he said, well, uh, not many know, but State Farm has their own banking side, which is something you can definitely relate to. And I think it'd be an easier transition for you. And the fact of the matter is, most people know the business, right? They know State Farm, they know the brand recognition. So the only reason why I never pursued it is because I have a love for real estate, and for me, um, State Farm wouldn't allow me to do both. And for that reason, I just decided, I'll continue real estate, but now that you're asking, I think that'd be a great route for you. So I started process really started back in 2007 when I first went to one of their entrepreneurial networking events that they had to share the opportunity. At that point, I felt like I wasn't ready. And actually, in 2013, I decided to walk away from management and banking and pursue the opportunity. Went through their what they call their agency intern program. At the time, they required to have the insurance producer license, so the opportunity to help clients around auto, home, life, health. But along with that, you have to have your Series 6 and 63. And to be quite honest with you, brother, I took the test a few times, could not pass it, so I couldn't move forward with agency. So that's kind of how where I ended up back into banking, decided to pursue the route of mortgage lending, and that's how you and I connected.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, and look, I mean, this is all about going for CEO, right? So you
Yeah.
did not let that stop you. You did not let some stumbling and
Mhm.
not getting that Series 6 and 63 apparently, because ultimately, guess what came back full circle, right? And it's
Right.
such a cool journey to hear. So tell us, as you started to kind of get into the mortgage and you had some success, but then you just always had this pull. It feels like this gravitational pull to where you ended up with your agency again. What was the final steps that got you back into the agency mode?
For me, was it was the perfect opportunity for me, and honestly, even my wife. So I kind of left that part out. That's an important piece. Husband, wife, two, I say bonus children, but they're my stepchildren. So I have a 21-year-old and a 16-year-old now son, and then we have an 8-year-old daughter together. But both my wife and I, we met in banking. So she was what they called a compliance officer, and back in 2014, they eliminated her position because of banking going now more digital, and there was really not a need for her role. But since then, I intentionally had her go work for a State Farm agent with the mindset at some point I'm going to continue to try to go after this at some given point, whether it be this route or even going the independent route. So for the last five years, she's been working for a State Farm agent, more on the service piece, learning the business, getting her licenses. And I looked at the opportunity even further. Talked to several insurance reps, talked to those that have been in the industry long term, and I know that for me, I wanted a business that had a model where you could get that residual income. For me, that was important. On the mortgage side, I'm not saying you can't build a position where you could kind of get that repeat customer, but a lot harder to do versus something like the insurance industry. Something that both you and I could relate to.
Sure, sure. No, and
Yeah.
what an interesting fact, right? It was still a gravitational pull to get that. So what broke through? I don't.
Mhm.
Did they not have that requirement anymore of 63, or how did the transition happen?
Yeah, actually, they reached out to me and said they no longer made it a mandatory requirement to have the Series 6 and 63. And if I was still considering that opportunity again, this might be the right time. And so actually, I think it's the best time for me because not that I wouldn't want to consider that maybe long term. Right now, I'm not, I don't have the desire to pursue it, but at some point, looking to expand my business model, maybe I will. Right now, since it's our first year in, we're looking to just kind of build the business, build a team, and at some point maybe look to see what else we could add on to help our customers. But for me, they reached out. They said, "Hey, this no longer is a requirement. What are your thoughts?" And I honestly felt it was the best time. And honestly, looking back, I know that at the time I didn't agree with them letting me not pursue the opportunity, but it was for the best because having my wife join me, having her gain the experiences she's gained the last few years has really helped us quite a bit.
That's awesome. So
Yep.
tell us, I mean, let's get into kind of the minutia, right? We teach
Mhm.
here on the Go4CEO channel, marketing, operations, scaling, many of the things that really you need to do to own a business. So what are some of the capital investments that you made? What are some things that you've had to structure the right way to be able to have the opportunity? I know you went recently through some construction, right? Can be an adventure sometimes,
Yes.
with delays and needs and stuff, and then you launched, I saw the launch of some things online. So tell us a little
Mhm.
about that journey, about maybe just kind of capital. What did you need to make sure that you could open up your own office?
Capital wise, it really depends on you as far as when you going off of the whole build out. How fancy do you want to go? Do you want to keep it simple? You and I know that nowadays with technology, you don't really need an office space, but it's nice to have. But with it, we went simple. We were trying to avoid a full build out, but unfortunately, the challenge I kept coming across was just not being so close to another agent. One of the requirements that they asked of us is to make sure that we were at least a mile or more from another agent. That way, we weren't
Mm.
so close to. Every time we found a location where it didn't require that build out, there was another agent down the street. So it made it challenging for us. I didn't expect that to be such a challenge, but it actually turned out to be. Um, and then when we found a location, it just kept adding on. Obviously, you have this number in mind where you're gonna. For me, I was looking to spend no more than maybe 5 to 10,000 on the build out, to be quite honest. But it went above that for the fact that permits. Then they stepped back and said, "Hey, now you need an architect draw out the whole layout. And I didn't expect that. They misinformed us as in the very beginning, their zoning department. And but those are things that come at you. You know that you should expect surprises, but when it does happen, it still catches you off guard.
Sure, sure. I mean,
Yeah,
and these are the growing pains, right?
right.
Initial startup pains, initial
Hmm.
costs of construction, initial more, building permits, and all these types of things. So take us through, right? You initially plan? It sounds like just you and your wife to get started in the business, but was that the case at launch or at ribbon cutting? How did that
Sure.
work out, or did you also bring on some new people?
So I mean, we definitely wanted to make sure. So our motto, we wanted to have my wife be, her title's the office manager, but she's also the one responsible for the operational piece. So she handles a lot of the customer service, those that are calling for needs around, uh, you know, something as simple as their insurance card or whatnot. Then I wanted to bring on at least two sales members full time. So we have two sales reps right now. We have a gentleman by the name of Saul Rodriguez who comes from 10 years in leadership with Verizon Retail. So he did sales there. Along with that, the last 2 years he did sales with Martin Nissan. So he was selling cars and, share the opportunity with them, share with them what the long-term vision would be for me to see. Because what we're looking to do is bring on team members, we'll bring on future agents. So that's the goal for us. Is definitely to bring on people that have that like-minded mindset of having that entrepreneurial route of passion to go that direction. And the same thing with Alex. Alex actually is another team member we have, Alex Lima. He actually used to work for a State Farm agent, left to try out banking, and unfortunately was in a situation where the bank decided to close the location they were at. So it kind of happened at a perfect timing for me to be able to find someone that had the licenses, that had the experience. And when we sat down, just shared the same thing, the opportunity, shared, how would you like to have control going forward that, you could prevent this from happening again. And he's also serving in the military. He's in the Marine Corps. He's actually reserves. So he once a month he goes, and I think it's 2 weeks out of the summer. So definitely a man that has the military background, very, excuse me, very well organized, very structured, and someone that I feel that has that background really brings a lot to the team.
Awesome, awesome. So you talked about really right there scaling, right?
Mhm,
Instantly, right? You went from construction costs to build out to
mhm,
startup, and then bringing on two employees right away. So, are those independent contractor employees, or are they what's called W-2 employees?
They're currently W-2 employees, so they do get a base salary. They do get commission structure that we have in place with the goal of long-term. I have an 18-month plan for each of them, and
Oh,
that's
nice.
if they want to go ahead and pursue that agency route, the goal is to not be with me no longer than 2 years at most. If it's a decision they want to stay with me, then we have a compensation structure, a comp plan built to help them, achieve whatever monetary amount they have in mind. So,
Wow,
but
that's awesome. It,
yeah,
it takes a big-hearted person too to be in leadership and also let go of people that you've been able to go from baby eagle to big eagles, right?
right.
I like to describe it as, I remember my banking days. I was one of my claim to fames, and I was very proud of this, and kind of, proud in the sense of I would see, my teller to banker, banker to branch manager, and they'd leave me
Mhm.
and I would see other competitors, other colleagues of mine at the branch manager level, kind of keep their bankers down because they were great bankers, but never
Right.
give them the wings to become their own branch manager, right? So I know I probably did 30 or 40 promotions. I still have great, probably 20 of those promotions, still connect with them and text with them. So what a cool experience over the next 5, 10, 15 years you're going to have of promoting people out. And you
Yeah.
may have to start over again, obviously, but
Yeah.
it's a pretty cool notion, and thankfully, thank God you have that heart to do that. So tell us a little bit
Absolutely.
about the difference, right? You've got this model
Hmm.
and this brand that you have. You know, what kind of differences do you think that they bring to the table when it comes to, let's say, even operations? I know you have your wife in there for operations inside
Hmm.
the branch, but is it a scratch, do they call it, or is it already, did you inherit a little bit of a client base as well?
And my situation is a little bit more unique because, like you said, they do have Scratch and they also have where you can inherit a book of business. Mine was kind of like it's like a hybrid of both, meaning that I don't have a specific book assignment for one agent only. They created the book for me where it was three agents. Sadly, that are no longer with the organization. For those three agents, they were able to create this book for me. So with that, I mean, it's a great opportunity where it helps you to be able to be in a position where you have that residual income coming in right now. You have that database with customers. You could go ahead and grow that relationship even deeper. But with that, allow you to support the expenses you have as far as rent, light, gas, marketing, the staff that we have. So definitely, it's something that does make it an easier transition for someone that's considering to go this route and says, "Hey, you know what? I have capital, but hey, would it be great to not have to use all of it and have an opportunity where you have money coming in right away and have that turnkey operation? If that makes sense with
I love
that.
it.
The systems are phenomenal. We have our ECRM. We have, that was what I was looking for. Going into an opportunity where you don't have to start, you know, inventing everything from scratch. Where you had something where there's something in place currently, and you could just leverage that and then just capitalize on it and make sure that you put yourself, to work and make it work. Uh,
I love it. I love it. Well, and
mhm.
that's why people choose franchises per se, right?
Right.
There's a system, there's a model, there's a
Mhm.
proven success formula. If you're not too crazy about changing it or adding so much of your own, scenario to it, you're going to succeed because it has succeeded, right? So, really,
Right.
really awesome. So, tell us a little bit about just the way that you market yourself right now. I've seen you all over Facebook. I
Thank
see
you.
you always putting up great things on LinkedIn. So, what are some ways that are you doing the traditional postcards? Are you online a lot? Like, what is the way that you kind of, or do you just regularly network? Because I know you're always in
Mhm.
El Cafecito and all these types of networking
Yeah.
events. So, what are some of the ways that you bring the name out there of Jason Alicea, in your
Yeah.
business?
Well, we use several. I refer to several buckets, right? We have the bucket for networking. We have the bucket for centers of influence, bucket for social media, and then along with that, our book of business. And we also uh, leverage. Right now, I just invested in having poster boards where they'll be near our office, near, but the poster boards you find at bus stops. That we're going to have that, not necessarily billboards, but we're going to have that for the next 6 months. We also invested in direct mailers. Direct mailers, I don't expect a huge turnout. There's not a big conversion rate on it. But what it does do is just create that awareness. So just trying to get in front of get in front of as many people as we can as possible. We're also looking at internet leads. They're not the best, but it creates the opportunities. What I'm looking at with internet leads is helping my team build that comfort of quoting and getting used to making the dials. Get on the phone. And I always tell them every morning, guys, we can't control the calls that come in. We can't, but we can't control the calls that go out. So you have to be on the phone. You have to be proactive, and having these leads and having these other ways that we kind of drive business in. But we're looking at a few things. We're also doing Google search ad. We have a partnership with Google where they're doing those little ads on not only on Google but also on different social media platforms. So really trying to see which areas work best, but trying all of them to be quite honest. And then leveraging the network. I mean, for me, long term is just continuing to build a strong business on referrals, and that's partnering up with my lenders, my realtors, and so on.
No, and you've always been I'd say a guru at that. I mean, you see the heart that you have, and just attending a couple of the networking events that you've been able to invite me to. The everybody just speaks glowingly about you. So I'm
Thank you.
sure that it's not been a hard transition to tell them, hey, now I've opened up this agency, and they're excited to bring you more referrals. So pretty cool,
Yeah.
pretty cool. So we've gone through kind of the marketing. Scaling is usually about kind of how you grow your employees, but it's also about clientele. So tell us a little bit about kind of your scaling model inside and deepening the relationships. How's it been transitioning from these clients that maybe were left in the air with no agent now to
Mhm.
landing in your agency? And what's that conversation been like? What are you doing to
Mhm.
cultivate those relationships?
It's been very challenging to be quite honest with you. As I shared, there's been three different agents. They interacted, well, established a relationship with three agents, but then we had what they call servicing agents. So the servicing agent was an agent that kind of overseen that book until they brought someone in like myself. So now they've seen multiple agents. So it could create a lot of tension. The conversations I'm having with them is like, hey, I understand your frustration. I understand that you've been, with different agents, but understand that I'm going to be here long term. And this is why I'm reaching out. So I'm taking the approach of calling them and reaching out to them. So, and I'm doing that with my team. I do. My daughter, she's 21. She's with us at the office, and I have her leading a lot of the service calls with me as well. So she's getting in contact with the customers, letting them know about the change, and I'm also doing any follow-ups that I need to for those that share their frustrations. Some have actually transferred out. They've gone with other agents. They wanted someone more local to home, and trying to retain that as well. But at the end of the day, if that's what makes them feel more at ease, some have actually been able to say, "Hey, you know what? I like the fact that you took the chance took the initiative of reaching out. I like the way you sound, and I feel like I'm just going to give you a try." So that's all we ask. Give us an opportunity. Don't leave, and know that we're here to stay, and that's definitely the goal.
Yeah, I mean, look, attrition is
Yeah.
a part of the game, right? You've got a lot of
Yeah.
competition out there. This is Chicagoland area. There's a
Yes.
lot of choices out there for people to choose. And although your brand is phenomenal, it's always been kind of a leader in the industry. You still have to fight for that business. You still have to, if their experience has been multiple agents, it just doesn't feel as comfortable when you're the third or fourth person calling them, right? So,
Right.
well, awesome, awesome. Is there anything else that you're doing? Maybe, are you, I guess, doing events yet? I know we're kind of getting out of the COVID area. It's, 2020 and now 2021 today. But are you doing anything, maybe virtual events? Are you doing anything that is a little bit special to kind of endear yourself to them? Maybe after you have a conversation, do you do a handwritten note? Any little secrets that you're doing that
Oh, yeah.
are your Jason Alicea touch?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for sure, immediately sending a thank you card. We have an onboarding process that we've implemented in the office that the team understands that the minute we establish a relationship with a customer, if it's one of my sales reps, immediately either if it's in person right now with the whole pandemic and COVID, you don't see that very much. But if it's over the phone, hey, see if I'm available, pass the call to me if anything. If not, I'm calling the customer the same day, just thanking them for their business, thanking them for the opportunity. And then our onboarding process is just making sure that everything goes through all right with underwriting. Make sure there's no changes, make sure, that premium stays the same. Sometimes as they go out to kind of look at the homeowner's property, they notice maybe it wasn't all brick, maybe some frame. So if there's any changes, we make sure that we follow up with the customer, let them know. One thing that I've always implemented since I was in banking was making sure that we follow up regardless if it was a debit card. In our case, if you set up an auto insurance, call them to see if they got their insurance card. A lot of stuff is done digital, but even making sure right now we have a big promotion around Drive Safe and Safe, which is a beacon you put on your vehicle and it monitors your driving pattern. So I tell the team, hey, call them. Did you receive your beacon? Did you, need help setting that up? And we had a customer come in this week saying, hey, thank you for reaching out. I didn't know how to set it up. And your team member Alex was able to do that for me. So we're just anyway, service to me is huge. It's hard to bring the business in, and you want to make sure you retain it, and you retain it with service, with showing them, how do we separate ourselves from the other agents out there, regardless if it's the same branding, but it's not the Alicea office. The Alicea office is taking pride in making sure that we're always following up. We reach out, we send out that thank you card for their birthdays. We're giving them a call to wish them a happy birthday. Let them know something as simple as that goes a long way. So
Definitely,
yeah,
definitely.
yeah.
So now transition from obviously the client base that you've kind of re-engaged and
Mhm.
reactivated to be in your agency. The new experience, the person that's coming on, you just shared kind of some of the onboarding things. What are some things that you're doing with your networking connections, your realtors, your traditional? I'm assuming you've got those traditional influencers that bring business to you, and you can outsource to them. But what do you do with them as well?
With my partners, I would say so. Primarily, more so on the lending side, I work with a few loan officers where we have a good relationship, and they understand I'm here to help them out, and they know that I understand the business model. My goal is to make sure that I help them get to the closing table, and with that, we look at what ways can we make this deal work for everyone. Along with that, I've been partnering up with certain not-for-profits that offer home buying seminars, which is an opportunity to bring me in and allow me to share my business and see how we can help them as well. So that's another way that I'm helping grow our business, and that's actually going to be done virtual, from my understanding. At this point, there's no set dates yet, but for 2021, I've had a few meetings already just to kind of see what does that look like? Are they going to have them? And the same thing, I'm trying to work out a plan with some of my lenders and realtors just to see how do we create a home buying seminar virtual, or how do we create one where we could make it safe for everyone, but still do it maybe a smaller setting. Typically we used to have anywhere between 15 to 30 customers come to these events. Right now, with COVID, how do we maybe downsize it, maybe six, or make it more of a smaller group, but at the same token, still be able to deliver that message and deliver, what is the whole process like, to see how we can help them make that sound decision when it comes to buying a home.
Definitely. Well, look,
Mhm.
I mean, inside your business on a daily basis and on a quarterly and yearly basis, you're going to have to pivot, right? You're going to have to bring on the headwinds, learn kind of what's going on, and make those pivoting changes. So, pretty awesome stuff. So, as we kind of get to the end of the interview here, one of the
Yeah.
things that we talk about is client experience, employee engagement, and operational excellence. And I know that you kind of touched on a few of those areas, Jason. But why don't you share with the audience and the Go4Ceo community? You're listening to a guy that really kind of has poured a lot of passion. I hope you hear that. You listen to some of the last 2, 3, 4, 15, 20 minutes of just understanding kind of how does Jason think? What is this insurance agency gonna mean to him? How did he connect with the clients? But what's client experience gonna mean for you as you move forward in growing your agency?
For me, it's just making sure they know that, our motto is we strive for five. We strive for 5-star service. We want to make sure that we stand behind it. We want to make sure that customers know that we care. It's not just getting your business and that's it, and we forget about you. We want to build that relationship with you. We have a saying, entre familia, within family. We want you to feel like you're part of the family. If you were to visit my webpage, you're going to see that I have there that, as cheesy as that may sound, I want you to feel like the show Cheers, where everyone knows your name. You come in and it's not only me, it's Alex, Saul, Nancy. They're going to welcome you, and you want to feel that when you get there. And when you ever need anything, that's the main thing. We're going to be there when it matters most, and at the time of need, we're going to be there. So that's definitely the goal for us, and making sure that we follow through, and make sure that that you feel that good neighbor presence when you're working with us.
I love it. I love it. So,
Yeah.
and you talked about Saul and the other gentleman. You're talking about employee engagement. Some of the
Mhm.
things that you're doing. So, what are some things that you do that maybe as the owner, the CEO of your agency, what are you doing
Yeah.
to engage your employees?
That's a really good question, John. Even today I had every week I have a one-on-one meeting with them, and it's just a check-in point. Hey, how are you feeling? Check their temperature. Where are you at? How can I help? And the feedback I'm getting, they're like, Jason, I mean, you're doing a tremendous job with when it comes to having the morning huddles, when you have the role plays with us. One of them shared that, hey, I'm not crazy about role plays, but I get it. It helps us. It helps us sharpen our skill. And we do that daily with you. So you prepare us, because, they tell me, hey, we come across those objections, and you've taught us how to overcome that in a way where it's not coming across pushy. It's coming across genuine, that we care about our customers and we want them to know what they have today. So along with that, we try to have fun, man. It's a small team. We're together every day. We have the morning huddles. We high five. We talk throughout the process. We share best practices that we learn, and then every day we're leading with recognition. If you ever play the game Bags, we actually use the game Bags for every app that they do. So when I say app, meaning if they help a household with 2 autos in a home, that's considered 3 app counts. So for each app, they get to toss a bag, and if they make the bag in the hole, gets them to enter into a raffle. They get excited about it, man. But one of them won a hat, a shirt, hoodie, scratch card tickets. We just try to make it exciting for them to know that, hey, we appreciate what you do. And at the end of the day, it's about helping families, but it's also about making sure that you get rewarded for it. And we're here to do that.
Wow, that's really cool.
Yeah.
That's a cool. So every app that they do, then they
Mhm.
be able to toss that the bag, and then if
Mhm.
they make it, they go into a raffle. And I know that we're not talking about it today, but don't limit your identity is one of your brands. Some of the
Yeah.
merchandise that you have, and what a cool experience. I'm assuming they're probably getting that, okay? Because they should never limit their identity.
Absolutely. Yeah, they
Awesome.
already know this is team don't limit identity. They know about that, and they actually have merchandise for me already. But yes, yeah, we're
Awesome,
excited.
awesome,
Yeah.
awesome, awesome. So,
Mhm.
all right, and the last one is operational excellence. I know the wife, she's kind of the COO, right? She's the chief
Right.
operating officer. This
Mhm.
agency model and the brand that you have kind of gives you a great pathway of how to operate. But what are some things that you think that your agency is going to do just to kind of take to that next level of operational excellence?
Well, what we're doing now, I think, is really working. both her and I, after the team huddle, we connect just to see, have we received any updates from underwriting? Is there any follow-ups that we need to do to make sure, if there's signature cards that we're missing, anything like that? We're basically on it to make sure we avoid any cancellations, any hiccups, any interruptions for our customers. So we definitely make sure that each day, I mean, we're big coming from the banking background. I know it's helped us with this business because we're big on operations. I'm sure you could agree in banking. There was a saying where sales could get you promoted, operations get you terminated. And with that, making sure that we're running a smooth operation business from opening to close, where there's no losses in between. And we do that by just checking in. She and I, we have that meeting right after the huddle, really quick, 5-10 minutes. Okay, what do you need to work on? How do I help? Is there any updates? And then at the end of the day, we reconnect. Hey, I seen this. Did you see that? And it's just making sure we're on top of everything. The same thing with our sales team. The minute before they walk out for the day, hey, what did you close? Okay, did you get whatever necessary? Okay, no, I didn't. All right, let us know what we need to follow up with, and we get on it.
I love it. I love it. Well, and by
So
the way, I need your beautiful wife and COO on this interview next time. So
yeah,
actually,
absolutely.
unfortunately, I didn't realize, or else I would have pressured you to do it because I just interviewed a power couple too, and that's beautiful. You guys work together, and I didn't realize you
Yes.
guys were working together. So I see a lot of the
Mhm.
family in the pictures that you put up, but
Yeah.
that's really really cool. So Jason, look, thank you so much again, obviously for coming on board and sharing your journey of going for CEO.
Thank
Community,
you.
I want you to engage with Jason, leave a comment, and I'm sure Jason will kind of share with you or guide you maybe some questions you have, or how did he start his agency, go deeper on some of the questions that I asked, but Jason, go ahead and tell everybody whatever you feel comfortable as far as website, phone number, all these things to have people engage with you and your team.
Definitely. I really appreciate it, John. Thank you again for allowing me to be a part of Go4Ceo. I love what you're doing. You're conducting quite a bit of interviews out there. It's a lot of great content, a lot of great stuff that's going to help all entrepreneurs out there. So I really appreciate that. With that, I mean, you can definitely find me on my webpage, www.myagentjasonalicea.com. So JASONALICEA, myagentjasonalicea.com. It's going to give you a brief bio of me, sharing my background, my family, and each team member as well. That way you can relate and connect with us. We have our Facebook page. You can also reach us at our office at 847-227-0190. That's again 847-227-0190. Be happy to help, or shoot me an email, Jason at myagentjasonalicea.com. And I know that's a bit of a long one, but yeah, I'd be happy to help any way. We've had customers reach out that are, or non-customers reach out, and we've taken an opportunity to review their coverages. And if everything looks right and it makes sense for them to stay where they're at, that's fine. At the end of the day, one of the major things that separate me from everyone else is I love leading with education, and I'm training my team with that. We're educating our customers to know, in the event, if you're involved in an accident, do you want to pay, or do you want your insurance carrier to pay? And if you do, you have to know what you have in place, because we find many customers have state minimum coverage, which will put them in a position where they could potentially have their checks garnished or put a lien on their property because they don't have enough coverage. So our goal is, I tell my team, we educate and we let them make the option. But we help them understand, what is it going to do for them in the event something should happen. So
Knowing a
thank you
little bit
again, John.
about insurance, I know that, man, every couple extra dollars of coverage, you feel like, oh, I don't know if I want to spend that, but gosh, when you need it, there is nothing more valuable than having the right coverage, the right amount for the situation that you have. So what a cool way to end there. So Jason, one
Thank
thing
you.
that's on my heart, I do have to say this only because I want to make sure that I just kind of slip it in there. Can you tell us a little bit about your mindset with don't limit your identity? I kind of introduced it a little bit, but I want people to know about it because I just love the movement.
Thank you.
We'll end with that. What can you tell us about don't limit your identity, just as the last way to engage with our audience?
A real quick snapshot. Don't Let Me Identity was all started for my daughter. I really believe, as a man of faith, I believe God used my daughter to encourage me to create video content for her, which led into me creating a word of the day. And with that, it's led to creating the branding of Don't Limit Your Identity. As I share, I'm a man of faith. So I believe that, I serve a God of no limitations. So why should we place limitations upon ourselves? And I truly believe that we can overcome anything we encounter in our lives. It's just having that right mindset, and then letting yourself know that no matter what I encounter, I'm going to be able to persevere, and I'm going to be able to go ahead and not limit my identity. I truly believe life is a battlefield, but through faith and determination, you will reach success pursuing your true identity. And that's what my main branding behind that is, just making sure you understand that you can overcome anything you come encounter with in life, whether it be personal, business, relationship wise. You know, you were created for greatness, so don't place limitations on yourself, because you are a champion, you are a warrior, and you can make it happen.
Woo! Hey, you don't get that from your average insurance agent, right? This guy is the
No,
next level. So
thank you.
excited to have you on. Thank you so much. And with the Go4Ceo community, you will see Jason in 6 months. So Jason, we're going to have you on in about 6 months. We want to
All right.
the journey. Obviously, having
Mhm.
started this agency, late last year, going into this year, it's going to be really cool to kind of see where you're at 6 months from now and 6 months after that, and really just hopefully have a tribe of people that start to follow your content and follow who you guys are at the Jason Alicea Insurance and Financial Agency. So thank you so much, brother. Thank
Thank
you so
you.
much for coming on, and look forward to seeing you in about 6 months on the Go4Ceo channel. And by the way, subscribe to the channel. If you've not been a subscribed person, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment. All right. Do a thumbs up. And thank you so
All right.
much, Jason, for coming on board.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate it. Excited. Take care. God bless everyone. Bye.